Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to my favourite time of the year, most wonderful time of the year. No, not because we're in December, but because it is new set reveal season and I get to talk at a camera about all that's coming in 2024, my last feelings on 2023, and the season as a whole. And you guys seem to like this sometimes, you guys don't get a choice because it's something I love to talk about and I don't have anyone I can talk about it with. So I'm going to share it all with The Void. So as you can see, we are going to go through all of my favourite or most interesting. They don't have to be ones I want to buy, just stuff I want to share attention to on the 2024 lineup so far. And it is an interesting one, as well as go over some of the wanted list stuff and 2024 and 2023 as well. They're just all over the place. But let's start up with a big one. Always start with this one every year, and this is, of course, the 2024 modular. Yeah, I know it came out December 2023. Doesn't count. It's the 2024 modular. This is the Natural History Museum, and I've been waiting to talk about this one. Fantastic set. Firstly, let's get out of the way. It is a modular that has made the list. It's 1.5 base plates, which makes it a bit different to most of them, but museum is something that obviously a lot of people have requested for a really long time, and I think the aesthetic has been nailed here. Now, museums play a important part of my life. That's all you need to know, of course. And I was really, really excited, specifically, being a Brit and seeing that there was going to be a Diplodocus skeleton, which is obviously a really iconic part of the Natural History Museum in London. Dippy the Diplodocus, which is awesome. Not to mention you throw in an adventurer's reference with Dr. Kilroy being the curator of the museum. Those beautiful banners, the lovely colour, olive green was 100% the right choice, the columns and so on, and it truly is fantastic. It needed the extra half base plate. I worry a lot about these municipal buildings. Sometimes I question whether they should be on the modular roster, but this one feels like a real proper centre to your town, and it's one that I definitely want to add to my street at some point. Luckily, it will be on shelves for a while because it has that price tag. Now, I do have one concern with this set, and that is largely the interior. While of course museums are open, empty and spacious, by the way, the play loop here is really, really great, and it's just fantastic all around. We don't spend too long on the details here. I could talk for much longer. Just the architecture, everything about it's perfect. The interior is where my problem is. It's spacious, but that's not how modulars go. I feel like there should be a couple more exhibits, specifically on the top floor, and I think in that regards I would have liked one of the mezzanines to be filled in, specifically the one over the non-dinosaur wing. I do love that Dippy comes through the middle of the floor, but I do kind of wish that was in like the center. He was in like the entrance hall, but maybe that's my nostalgia with the Natural History Museum coming through. My problem is I think there's some problems with the interior, more specifically on the top floor. It just feels a little sparse. I would have used this space to show off a lot more, but then again, I'll have to wait until see I build it, and of course I'll make some modifications, or maybe I'll even do it on the channel like I did with the police station. The problem with that police station modular modification is now I actually want the police station, but that is obviously more special to me now that we have Kilroy here, because that Adventurers reboot was what I've been looking for. And on a separate note, of course, Johnny and Kilroy have now appeared, and we're seeing a set coming up later that I want to talk about from this year, 2023. The Pippins reappeared as well. So we have the full cast is together, and I'm definitely going to be collecting all of those to have them together, because Johnny came in that 2019 CMF, so very, very excited. So, of course, plenty of other things to talk about. Let's get this one out of the way, because I'm assuming a lot of people would expect that I would really, really love this. And this is the Dune Ornithopter. This was probably the big reveal. It's sort of like the Rivendell equivalent of like new IP comes back with a big set. The Ornithopter, I'm sure it looks very, very impressive, but it seems like a lot of space has been taken up by that function. I won't deny that this is perfect for if you're a fan of the movie, but I actually really didn't like the movie, largely because of like the sand design. And this is someone that is a huge fantasy sci-fi fan, so it's really, really disappointing. Give me a Star Trek set, and we'll be getting along fine. But I love what they've done here, and I can respect it from a distance. It deserves the credit it's getting, but I have my concerns, and it's just not for me. So that's a nice, easy money save, but definitely something I wanted to bring up. Now, moving into the other thing that we generally tend to talk about in every one of these, we've been doing these since the channel started, actually, and that is, of course, the botanicals. Now, I have many feelings on one of them, and mostly positives to say about the other. So let's start off with the positive one. That is, of course, the Bouquet of Roses. This one was revealed last, and Marvel sets still to come, but I'm doing this now because most of the stuff I'm excited about is here to be revealed already. But if there's something really big, I'll make a follow-up, of course. But getting back to the actual topic at hand, let's talk about these roses. The roses were one of the most influential and potentially one of the best botanical sets back released in 2020. Obviously, the original Bouquet and the Orchid still crown for me, and specifically the Orchid is still the best. It's the top of the botanicals line. However, the roses, I cannot undeny deny their importance to the Adults Welcome branding and how many people brought those roses. So having a whole bouquet here makes all the sense in the world, and the techniques look so much better. This is the modern Lego set of the year, and it is quite potentially in credit for the top of the release wave, just technique-wise. It's truly stunning. There's something that I see there that makes me feel, yes, that is modern Lego, and I can't always say that these days, which is a shame. Perfect color combinations with the dark red and the new whip pieces. It looks fantastic, and I'm sorely tempted if if I had a vase or someone that needed roses in my life. I'm sorely tempted because I did own the originals for a short time, but I passed them on to a friend. It was a gift. I actually found those on the floor. It was a really interesting story. I was walking back from work and I just found them on the floor. But anyway, sidetracked, story for another day. These roses look fantastic. The other one I'm not so sold on. Now, there's some things to say about the tiny plants. Now, personally, I believe that it is a very effective opening for new fans into the system and a great addition to the Botanicals line. However, if you're introducing someone to Lego and you're going for the botanical system, this is not the set to choose. The pots are just so repetitive, and I don't believe they particularly show the best use of building techniques. Now, of course, the part usage here is incredible, like the cake pieces and the explorer hats upside down for pitcher plants. And to be honest, the three sort of carnivorous succulents are probably the best looking ones here. But specifically when you look at the three smallest pots, that butterfly build and the little like agave one, it's just so weak, specifically the hairbrush plant. There's just not enough here. Now, they're great representations of what they are, but there's no depth, there's nothing to sink your teeth into. Over half the parts are sunken into the pots, and having 9 separate one of them do feel more like a shelf filler rather than a one-off piece that sits in the corner and goes, oh wow, what's that? You can very clearly tell these things are Lego. Now, it's great to have more plant variety, but in my opinion, they're worse than the succulents last year, although I do really love the pitcher plants. There are just some problems I can't look past, and I think it's not concerning at all. It's just what it is, but I'm not a fan of the direction these ones take, and they're not exciting me. They don't really feel like part of the botanical line to me. They feel more like a Creator 3-in-1, but without the 3-in-1. And as mentioned, I don't think they display as well for newcomers. I don't think they are the introductory set of choice, at least not to me. I would always go for Orchid if they don't have a vase, or I still think the 2020 botanicals, the 2020 bouquet, the 2023 wildflower bouquet, or this year's roses are the choice. Probably more so the bouquets, and then just anyone can put them in a vase in the corner, and then it becomes a talking piece as well as a permanent flower display. Those are the perfect botanical sets. Orchid is a close second because it's a singular piece, it's entirely Lego, and it's beautiful. These ones don't quite fit the bill for me, and I think that's unfortunate because the majority of the parts are sunk into the pots, and the plants they're going for are slightly harder to recreate. They just feel very shrunken and not quite fully formed. I also want to talk about some other sets as we go through, of course. Let's start off with the Minecraft. Let's get it out of the way. Only 2 sets really here are standing out to me, one of which not for the best of reasons. It's finally fantastic that we get an accurate Hoglin. The original one was just so confused. So seeing one here in those newer colours, specifically the flesh tones, looks great. Glad to see the function preserved, and I cannot isolate how much of a night and day difference it is. Really, really pleased that him, as well as the small magma cubes and the Ghast are back as well. Ghast being back is huge win. Getting more Crimson Forest is always great, and obviously we always like seeing more nether-based sets because I don't feel like we get enough, but I feel like we should be getting a fortress. It feels like it's been way too long since we've had a fortress. That being said, I don't like the set, and the large reason is it does not feel like good value. The Ghast is obviously taking up a part of the piece count, and just like how the Nether Bastion sort of forced you to consider the magma cube, the big magma cube, as part of the piece count. I just feel like that, plus the Strider, plus the Piglins in there was just more here. Whereas here is only one figure, 2 builds like that set, but you just don't get even as much volume. That was built off a 16x16 lava plate. You had the Bastion corner, the Soul Sand Valley, and that little extra bit as well. I could justify that on sale. This one I'd need to be reaching almost half price before I'd consider it. Yes, it has that portal, but the terrain is flat, uninteresting, and doesn't have a feature attached, and the lack of other figures hurts it. It is nice to see the small magma cubes back though, but I just find myself wishing for more with the nether terrain with this one, which is a shame because it's Crimson Forest, and I would like to see more Crimson Forest. The other one though, again, I have similar mixed feelings on, but will definitely be buying. Now this is the Frog House, retailing for about 50. Most important thing for me here is it coming with the green frog, but it's also saving annoying me because they did not keep the Warm Frog, the grey frog, exclusive to the Pumpkin House, which was also an abysmal set from last year. The frogs, unfortunately, haven't had the best track record with sets. Now this one's a lot better. I actually do quite like the Frog House, although I do not love the roof. It feels like it's bowing a little. It feels a little bit empty. I was kind of hoping for like another feature. I don't know, like you've got a drown and a zombie here. Like, would it have been too much to include like a transformation chamber, or like some sort of mini explosion around the leg, or like a tree coming off the back of the house, like a mangrove tree? I don't know. I love a lot of what's here. All of the elements are great, but unfortunately for the price, it doesn't feel like it has enough function. But there is a lot of play value, and of course for me it is mostly about those mobs, specifically the frogs. I'm very excited to get green and grey frog here, because I already have the orange one from Swamp Adventure. Another drowned, another zombie is great, and another player skin. Boat is great, of course, as well, and I do think that there is at least something to that interior. It just feels a shame that there's no action feature, which is something I don't usually say because playsets are usually fun, but I just feel like it's missing like a gimmick to make it worth the price. Regardless though, this one's on the wanted list. I will be picking it up, but only once it goes on sale. A big if there. It will. I only need like 20%, like get it down into its 30s and I'm fine there. Taking a quick look at Polybags before we move on to Creator, I wanted to highlight this Disney Wish one. I know no one saw the movie, basically, but I'm here for One Piece. I mentioned this on the community tab, but I wanted to mention here again. The star, the piece with the star is set up to be a Korok, and if this shows up for cheap, I will buy it, because that is a Makar waiting to happen. That guy, it's Makar. You cannot convince me otherwise, so glad he's appearing in a cheap set. Although, to be honest, it might just be cheaper to pick up the Welcome to Rosas set whenever that goes on sale and actually get some useful parts, because I imagine the pricing won't be too different if the Eternal sets were anything to go by with low-performing movies. Although maybe I'm wrong, who knows? I'm not an investor or an analysis. Let's move into Creator 3-in-1, which I think it's fairly easy to say is potentially the theme that sort of hit the most here. First up, we start up with a £10 dragon. Great to have another dragon back, specifically one that's different. I was worried that when we heard Red Dragon, we were going to get boring Edgy's 2007 Creator 3-in-1 dragons, and I was like, again, I mean, I want one because it's a dragon and it's cool and I don't have any, but getting this sort of chibi Figment, toothless kind of deal is really cute. Color scheme is great. The build is also fantastic and really does feel like a great pairing to last year, or this year's, I suppose. I'm already thinking like it's 2024. The Unicorn from earlier this year, which was also a fantastic £10 set. Here, the builds are okay for the tertiary and the secondary, but really it's that dragon that steals the show, and this chibi fantasy line is sort of pulling my attention away from the realistic animals in Creator 3-in-1 at the moment, because, as you know, we're going to talk about right now, I love the realistic animals in Creator 3-in-1. I have done since the beginning. The crocodile was the first one that sort of hit this new level for me, along with later on the exotic parrot and the tiger as well, but I didn't buy the tiger. Just the parrot and the crocodile were the two I bought, and that crocodile is, by the way, a ridiculous price on eBay now. It's like the lowest is like double its retail, which is insane. Maybe it's different in America, but in the UK it goes for like £69 right now, and that's insane for what it is. Taking a look though, as I mentioned, we have animals. First up here is this giraffe. It is very, very awesome. Again, this is the next in the line of realistic animals. The side builds here are also fantastic with the lion and the gazelle, but it's just the detail and depth, but specifically the head that they've managed to get here at this scale. Again, this is a set I want and will hopefully be picking up. Again, I'd like 20% off this. I don't feel like for 700 pieces, unless it's coming in, I feel I want, I'm picky with Creator 3-in-1. Like realistically, this is fairly priced anywhere up to 70. I probably want it for less than 50, if I'm going to be honest. I don't know what the British price is. I only know how many pieces it has. I'd assume it's retailing for 55, so I'm going to say I want this for 40, and then I'll bite. But it's definitely a set I want before it retires. Similarly, the peacock is actually incredibly fairly priced at only £20. I should probably do my research on the giraffe, actually, because I imagine the giraffe is probably much more fairly priced than I imagine. But the peacock does look great as well. I really like that the tail feathers can fold backwards. The secondary build with the dragonfly is fantastic, but the tertiary build is incredibly weak. However, it's just nice to see such an elegant animal recreated here. And it was only the other day I was thinking about how peacock wings could be created in Lego for a side project, unrelated, and now I have an example, although this wasn't exactly what I was imagining. Side note, for anyone that remembers when DOTS ended, they said that the DOTS kind of system or the DOTS method of play was coming into sets. I would not be surprised if those peacock feathers are part of that implementation and they just say place them wherever on here, because peacocks are known for their patterns. Now obviously the patterns are the same across each wing, but this does feel like another one of those DOTS implementation things, which is something I'm always looking out for because I'm really curious to see what it actually means in a sense. The last 3-in-1 set I also wanted to talk about was the retro vintage camera, and this is because it's really, really cool. Now I need to see more to understand how many features there are, but if these features like work as anticipated, this will again be another set that I add to the wanted list. I love the inclusion of the film, and I already know you can insert it inside, like there's a crank on the top. Is that for display? Does it make like a clicky noise? What does that dial do? Does the nose rotate? Like, is there another second feature that I'm not seeing? I hope so. I would like just like a noise or something. I don't know what I want. It's not like it's an old timey camera, but I do think it's very cool, and I also do really love the strap and the fact that the pictures are references. Hopefully those are prints, but more so because of a transparent, not because I'm a sticker hater, but because I think it only works better. But it's a fantastic set that I'm tempted by, depending again. I'd probably be swayed on sale, but again, the lack of figures and stuff really hurts Creator 3-in-1 for me. The builds generally have to be spectacular for me to be interested. But let's move on, let's keep going, because it truly is a fantastic set. Into sort of the mix of themes. So let's start off with Technic, because again, Technic's sort of surprising me this year. Now, Technic has a garbage truck that not many people have talked about yet. Again, if this is anywhere under 30, I'll be buying this, because although it's not figure compatible, this looks great. I'm really excited to see like a proper functioning truck come back again. You can already see on the side that there is a control between what I assume is like a bucket tipper and being able to tip the dump truck. So I really hope that's what I think, and there's like the lifter like a real truck, because in all the others, I'm just excited to have like a functional garbage truck. And I also really like the reuse of the Mario rocks for the bin there. It's fantastic. Great job, looks great. I really love the graphics on the side. They feel very British again, like it feels like a British garbage truck. So I'm excited by this. This was actually an Ideas project a while back. I know this isn't the Ideas project itself, but just another Ideas project that has interestingly ended up being a set anyway, probably why it got rejected. The other Technic set, of course, that stands out is the Ore. Very cool, very exciting, pretty ugly, I won't lie, but incredibly cool, and something that I think is making the list as well. I don't have much to say because I don't understand mechanisms, but I'm excited to have the chance to have a Lego Ore that is an Ideas set. I don't know why that feels so vindictive to me, but I like the fact that it's not an Ideas set. It does look very cool, very messy, but very cool. Into the Friends lineup, we have this one set that again is very tiny, and I hate the truck. Let's just make that clear. I'm not advocating that this is a good vehicle, but I just really like the cute little star background. I feel like, why hasn't this happened before? It makes so much sense. Once again, dots elements coming through, create whatever constellation you like. I think it's really awesome. I'd like to see more of it, and just in general, like more of these like landscape builds having backdrops. I don't know, it feels like it can't really work for much else than Sky, because it's like interrupting your play, but there's something to me about the idea of maybe like an 18 plus diorama using like a fake backdrop so that you could create like an iconic view. What comes to mind is like the view across the Breath of the Wild cliff from Breath of the Wild. I know this was a CSS idea I had, where there would be a brick built backdrop in the back like this, so that you could recreate that shot without having to build all of Hyrule. So that would have been really, really interesting. Apart from this, as unfortunately, I will never get this because the truck is so ugly, and friend sets really have to be spectacular. Now, it is a fantastic concept. It's so whimsical. It's so cute. I love it, but I can't justify it. Now, this next one here is very odd to me. These two suburban houses. Now, they're quirky to the point where they almost look cartoon, but in that way, they almost sort of bring themselves back to like what feels very, I don't know, it feels very retro. It feels like very gamey, but like also not at the same time. It's very, very cool. It's two suburban houses for two of our characters, one of them in light yellow and turquoise, great color combo, and then the slightly less appealing light blue, dark, medium blue, and then bright pink windows. Now this is also here because there's a new leaf element that I think looks really, really cool, and potentially, I mean, it's hard to tell. Like, could be, maybe not. Could be part of the deco tree. You never know. Who knows? But it's a really cool leaf element I'm looking forward to seeing recolored, and I'm excited to use to sort of represent more dense tree foliage once it's recolored into, you know, actual greens and other stuff. But looks very, very cool. I'm excited. Don't know what purple tree that is. I don't know any trees that are purple off the top of my head, at least big trees that have purple leaves like that. You know what I mean. Can't speak to the interiors, haven't seen them, but I do like the aesthetics. It feels very suburbia, which is very cool. And then there's one city set on here as well. City, for me, disappointed this year. I haven't been appeased since the 2022 lineup with the funny criminals, such as the ice cream truck and the squirrel garden and stuff. But that's just me. This one caught my attention because it's a ring space station, very science fiction, but also very epic. We really like it when they do stuff like this. I'm sick of the space sets being boring, so I'm really excited by the potential of this space wave. The designs aren't hitting particularly hard. I still prefer the older ones. But I like the homage that's being paid and the upgrades that are being paid. This one feels a little sparse. I want to see what's inside the other modules and looks a little repetitive, but it's a cool concept to have a ring space station. So nevertheless, I'll give it its credit now. Next up, Series 25. Now, I'm going to give this some praise, and then I'm going to take it all away. This is a fairly average series. Train Guy is really cute, of course, completing our trifecta of plane, boat, and now Train Guy for all the different vehicles that we've had. It looks really, really great. Triceratops looks fantastic, and I would be excited to use some of those parts for Lizalfos Purist Customs as well, specifically the torso, although there's still no getting around the head for Lizalfos. But the parts look great, and I'm also excited to have another dinosaur that is like my T-Rex costume from Series 23, 24 even. No, 20... Yeah, no, 24. I hate that they changed the numbering. Why is the numbering out of sync with the years now? Naturally, it doesn't matter what anyone thinks about this series because the goat's back. Very, very cool. It's almost sad to me that the goat's back just because I liked watching the 50-year-olds suffer that would like to complain about the goat's absence. Like, it really wasn't that big a deal. I mean, it was a funny meme in the community, but like, it really wasn't that big a deal. Like, the no goat, no purchase that I saw floating around on the Lion Knights castle was atrocious. These are grown adults and deserve shame. Yes, we all want the goats back, but there are levels, guys, let's be real. And it sort of sours me slightly knowing that this series is basically going to be impossible to find because they're all going to try and buy the goat just in case it never appears again, even though we know it's pretty much going to appear in that Medieval Village set, that if that ever comes out. The goat herder itself actually attracts some attention from me. I think he has good medieval parts. However, moving on. Vampire Batlord, great, always to see another reference. A bit weird that it's another Fright Nights one. Like, I get it, Basil's iconic, but I would have saved him for a GWP or one of these new retro remake sets. Maybe that's their plan. Probably that's why they brought the helmet back in a CMF, so they can use it again. But considering we had a Fright Night Ghost in the series, in like Series 19, I'm not overly hyped, but it's still pretty cool. Mushroom Lady is pretty cool. As well, I love the iridescent butterfly. That's my favorite part of her. I know she has a toad hat, whatever. I like the butterfly. The Barbarian is an air figure. The Paralympic is good for what it is. These real life ones don't interest me as much, generally speaking. Or they do if they've got interesting jobs, but like Dog Groomer, we've seen a show pet before. Like, it's very close to stuff we've seen before. Olympian, we've had plenty. Gamer Girl, put it in a city set. I don't know why it's here, but but also I'm not going to take points away from the series for any of these. Maybe Weightlifter because we've had 5 of them now. But the concept of having job roles in these CMFs is really, really important, and also shows like a variety. Like, these are, remember, kids only stay into this stuff for like 3 years, so like it's good to have these guys rotate in and out. The Noir Detective is probably my favorite in the series. I just think he's a really cool idea. The red herring joke gets me, and I like these monochrome. He's a little bit different, although the Triceratops also does take it. But I don't want to be that person that says the costume figure's the best. But like, I do like the costume figure and the Noir Detective, and the Harpy I absolutely hate. Why they chose this color scheme, I don't know. They wanted it to be different, I guess. I don't know. It's an incredibly ugly figure. Like, as someone that would have liked to see a proper Harpy done, it's very ugly, atrocious figure, and I know that's gonna be the one I end up getting, despite all of that. Now, I gave this series some mixed bag. It's not as good as some previous series is, but it doesn't matter, does it? Because I'm never going to be able to get any of them because they come in boxes and I can't afford to just buy a whole box. So I will buy one on Jan 1st and we'll see who I get. And hopefully I get one of the ones I want. Hope maybe I don't. And then if I want any of the others, it probably won't be Bricklink because you know they're going to be scalped because of that goat. I might pick up individual parts if I feel the need, but like, I just hope, yeah, you pick randomly. Again, I'm not going to make a big deal about it because it's the right move to make, but they should have had barcodes in the box, and it's going to take 4 years for that to happen. So, quite frankly, I'm going to talk about these series because they're important, but it quite literally doesn't matter who's in them because you have a random potluck. So unless I like every figure in a series, it's not going to happen. Watch me completely change that if there was ever a Nintendo series. I would just buy a box, you know? I feel like that would be the easiest scenario in that case, but also they were going to be scalped as well. Let's move on. It's just sad, you know? Like, I'm so glad that Disney series, Disney 100, wasn't in boxes because that would have been just a miserable experience. Into Mario. The Penguin set, a lot of people are giving this some flack. I quite like it. It's simple, whatever, but it's also cheap. More ice stuff was always appreciated. Why is the baby penguin back for a 3rd time? Where is the Snowpokey? I don't understand. You could have quite literally reskinned the Snowpokey set and I would have been happy. But At least the Baby Penguin hit makes more sense than in the Flipperous one from last year, because the Baby Penguin is being reunited with the mother. This should have been the Baby Penguin set. The Flipperous shouldn't have had it, so it should have been CMF Wave 4 for Mario back in 2022. No, 2022 January. Then it should have been not in the Flipperous, and then in this one. The Goomba with the hat is great. I always like seeing Goombas with different hat accessories, and I'm so pleased that they include a tile for you to take the hat off if you wanted to as well. But by far the standout here is Baby Penguin, Mama Penguin. Give me like a 10% discount and I'll buy it. I might even buy it at release, but I'm still catching up from like last year's set. So we'll see how it goes, because it'll probably be like halfway through next year. So I'll wait for like a 10-20% because I'm not in any rush particularly. Now that's the only one I'm probably actually going to buy, but I'm sorely tempted by the Bowser's Muscle car because the car looks so cool. Now I already have Bowser, so I'm not particularly interested, although the updated hand does look great. The idea that it can throw the bombs out the back is fantastic, and it's great to have Bowser in a cheaper set. It's great to have the car too. The car's so iconic, and the car's so well built as well. That is going to sell really well because it's going to attract a lot of fans who aren't pleased with the course builder system. Despite that, because the car looks so great and it's Bowser, right? He's cheap and iconic for the first time ever. You've also got this cheap set, which again I'm not interested in, but I do think it's good to point out because it's really, really cool, and I like the aesthetic of the shipwreck being under the water, and it's really nice vibes. It's a great playset actually. Just the way it's structured is fantastic. I'm curious to look in a little more depth with that. However, the only thing here that's exclusive is Cheap Chomp. Everything else you can get from other sets. Not necessarily better sets. Big Urchin's definitely better. The Blooper CMF is better because of the baby bloopers. Dory's beachfront set, the one with the Hucket Crab and the shell launch. I don't know how I feel about that one. I feel like I like this one a bit better, but that's just because it's more unique. It's underwater. But that beach set is kind of fun too. I don't know. It doesn't matter. But either way, it deserves more credit than it's been getting. Moving to some more miscellaneous stuff. Everyone's been talking about it, but the Sandman Tower from the Dreams line is awesome. There's something very like early Ninjago Lego Movie kind of aesthetics going on here, but it's also beautiful. The cogs specifically stand out. The figures aren't doing it for me, like compared to like themes like Nexonites and Hidden Side, where the figures quite often attract me. This wave of Dreams in particular, but also to a lesser extent last waves, although I do like the Nightmare King and his Bounty Hunter. This wave is not attracting me with the figures, specifically this new villain lady. But even the Sandman's design is cool, but it's need to see more photos. I'm interested to see the interior. I imagine it's going to be pretty sparse on interior and play features, but it does look gorgeous, so whatever, that's really good. The only Ninjago set worth talking about this time is the little like Coal Stomper mech, and that's purely because of finally a different body shape for a mech. I really love how beefy it is, and the color scheme here is pretty cool as well as the coal actually in the thing as well. But again, not interested. It just feels very dumpy in a good way, and I really, really like it. Now, the other theme that sort of stood out this year for me, at least, or of what we've seen so far, would have been the Harry Potter ones. I've got 3 here that I want to talk about. Not the 3 you're expecting. I mean, everyone's talked about the Hagrid's Hut. Let's start there. Awesome. I like this more than the 2019 one. I don't know what it was about 2019 one, despite being more accurate. There's something off. I don't know. It was great. It was a massive upgrade from what we had before. But just like looking at this, I'd prefer to have this any day of the week if I had to like pick between the two in the moment. I think the figure selection here, while weaker, is better. Like for me personally, like having the kids in outfits again is just whatever. But I have no interest in owning a Fudge and a McNair, so this one's better, I think. I like Hagrid's new outfit, and I like the new jumpers for the kids, but it's just like the same 3 kids again. Having Fang and Norbert here, specifically Norbert's looking so great. I'm very excited to see what Norbert's mold gets used for in the future. That the chimney piece, the smoke coming out the chimney is great, and the fact that the house is now fully enclosed again gives me such strong 2010 Hagrid's Hut nostalgia, which is a set I own. So I don't know whether I actually picked this up because I do own an earlier version, but this truly does feel like the 2010 one remade, and it's got a lot of great details on the inside as well. Mittens by the fire and like the place to put Norbert. It feels a little expensive for what it is, but it's a great set that deserves a lot of credit, and I think it's going to make a lot of people pleased. This sort of marked the comeback for Harry Potter. Last year was a little weak. I think I only bought the Battle of Hogwarts because it's a set that's been on my like most wanted list for like forever. And even then I bought it on sale because it was overpriced. But this wave has really been a comeback, and I think that's no more clear than like just with Hagrid's Hut. Looking though to the others though, let's start with the Boathouse. This one, people are going to be confused why I've put this one here, but this is potentially my favourite Hogwarts expansion in a long time. I don't know, and it has nothing to do with the grey roofs. I like the green roofs. I like the modular system from last year. It was very cool. But here, let's just break it down. So this set as a whole sort of encapsulates those very tightly packed but lush playsets that I love. Sets like this form the backbone of my inspiration for the CSS, and I hope that's clear, right? You've got your actual build, you've got a little seating area off to the side, you've got animals like the fish who, yeah, is out of the water, but it's done in such a charming way. You've got an owl, you've got the best McGonagall that we have in that version with the little cheapified trees and the pops of red from the mushroom and the spider climbing up the wall and a torch on the outside. Always a little gimmicks. You've got a nice water to rockwork detail, but small. It's that one layer rockwork, which is oh so iconic from back in the day, and it again forms so much of what I do. You've got these two little boats with the 4 figures. They look great. They're cheapified, whatever. You've got the ugly brown tower on the top. It's probably that's the one part of the set I don't like. This one also does come with the this wave even comes with the collectible portraits. Weaker idea than the chocolate frogs. Still interested to see how it pans out. You can notice on the wall you've even got hooks for the boats to hang on, which is great because I reckon the boats might be able to be posed there potentially. At least the oars will be, and then the boat can like sit in the middle, which is really, really cool. I think it's better that this is based off this rather than Snape's death scene, because there's not enough space inside to recreate Snape's death scene, and like that would be a bit dark, like, you know, like what are you doing? But it's just so, like, do you see what I mean, right? It's densely packed in the best way possible, and it's exactly the kind of inspiration from back in the day. It feels very rich, updated, and modern 2012, and I love it. And it truly is like the nostalgia for something that there's literally never been made in a set before is off the rails. It's crazy because this is the kind of set that I am inspired by, right? Like regularly, like it's beautiful. And apart from that, it amounts to nothing, right? Which is just the most special type of set, like the set that doesn't really make a big deal, right? It's no Hagrid, it's no Hogwarts Great Hall, you know, it's great for that reason exactly. That being said, I still need to get the Chamber of Secrets because that old wave is probably going to retire at the end of this year, 2024 I should say, so I need to get my hands on some of those before they retire. Moving on though, we have the Forbidden Hogwarts Forest thing. Now this one's a weird one, no one's going to understand why I'm giving this credit. Well, one, Buckbeak, Mini Thestral, and Pixie, great to have creatures back. It does feel like a creatures battle pack, that's great. Figures, normal wise, are okay. It's just the same old, same old. But it's the build that I love, and I'm ashamed to admit it because the build is so, like, odd. But it's literally just 2 trees on these stumps, and these stumps that can recreate. It reminds me a lot of the Avatar builds, but like the Avatar like forest side builds. But instead of just like having them, they just made it a set on its own, and it's very clear this is only here for the Hippogriff. I am sorely tempted to buy this set on sale because I don't know, there's just something about it. It's again, as I said with the boathouse, it's this idea that this set it's not really based on, well, it's based off source material, but it's not like representing anything. It's truly like, this is a vibe from Harry Potter. It's this forest, it's the forest, right? And the idea is they replicated it with this lush dark blue, and I really, really like that color scheme for this as well. It feels very much like the kind of sets that I'm inspired by, where it's like, okay, this isn't the most exciting thing in the world, but it's a Lego set, and someone did this and designed it this way, and I love sets like this, so I can't explain it. Again, I hope you can see the influence for stuff like this in the CSS, because the inspiration's there. A couple more random ones. Once again, I'm reminded every year that Speed Champions just gets even more cool. I wish I liked cars because I'd be freaking out, but the design techniques, the accuracy is getting crazy, especially this year. I've highlighted it with this blue set on here. Really, really cool. Dinosaur fossil, something looks off about it, but it's kind of cool. I hope we get more. I might buy it, maybe. I like the footprint. I like a lot of the sculpting here. It's just a bit in places, but it's really, really cool. Nice to see them branching out. I hope the Jurassic dinosaur line continues, despite no more movies coming out for a while. And then, of course, Animal Crossing. Shocking to some of you, I'm sure. I'm going to buy one of the sets. I'm going to buy the Bunny Outdoor Adventure because I think this sums up the theme in the best way. You've got the terrain that's like rearrangeable. You've got a lot of the cool prints, like the bell print and the fossil print and like the ground print. You get Bunny, who's a cool figure. But what attracted me most, other than like the side builds and stuff, like I get a tree, so I get to see the new roots and stuff. I get the landscape, which is to me more what I associate with Animal Crossing rather than the houses, which I know is really weird. You have a tent and stuff, but to me the most important thing is that pole vault feature, which I think is so cool. It's just a really nice feature integration into a landscape-based set. That's awesome. It's what I love to see, and I'm really glad it's here. So that's my favorite part about this set, is that little pole vault feature that's going to swing backwards and forwards to make it look like you're pole vaulting. Great idea. Perfect. Mario plates are working overtime in this one as well, so it's really fantastic to see. So yeah, that will be the one I pick up, although maybe I'll get tempted by others later on. Moving on though, Auspicious Dragon, the Chinese New Year set, and I will actually buy this one. I know I say this nearly every year, where there's like one of them I talk about and I'm going to buy, and then I don't ever do it, like Spring Lantern Festival. or Dragon Dance and other stuff like that. But this one I'm buying, probably even early in the year, because this is fantastic. I love dragons, as you can tell. I just always have. Specifically, usually it's winged dragons like Hungarian Horntail and stuff like that. But I also do have a real soft spot for the Chinese dragons that are more associated with positivity as well. The color scheme here, the build techniques are great. Color scheme with the gold material is great. The rock is a little bit like but the snot techniques, it looks really, really dense. I love the pose and the ball that it's holding as well. I don't have any faults looking at it, apart from maybe if you squint a bit, the base looks a little messy, but it looks very, very cool. I'm excited to have it, and it's been fast-tracked to nearly the top of the list because it's a great price, and it's a limited set that will go out at the end of this year, so end of 2024, I say. So I'm very eagerly anticipating this one, and I look forward to picking up soon. Probably besides the museum, my favourite set of the year. And obviously there's plenty of other stuff that we haven't seen yet, such as the Star Wars Droideka build, which is a cat taught my attention, like the Probe Droid. Hope it can transform. As well as a couple of other bits. There's plenty of rumours on the horizon. Who knows? There's going to be bigger stuff coming this year, probably like Barad-dûr. I'm really excited for, probably my big set for 2024. Maybe even Lelda, who knows? Probably not though, but maybe Deku-Tree, so maybe that would like destroy all of my purchase wanted list. Obviously, I'm also still catching up for 2023 sets, which we're going to talk about now, because we're going to go through some of the 2023 sets I didn't get to talk about this year, because I didn't get to make some one of these videos. There's also, of course, I want to start picking up some of the old retro sets like Helm's Deep and the Brick Bank that I missed back in the day. There's plenty of retro sets and retro figures like Disney Series 2 that I want to fill in some gaps and stuff, even including stuff like the last 4 Mario character packs that I'm missing, and these are things that obviously cost money and take away from the current sets. So I'm hoping that because this wave seems a little smaller, less stuff that's interesting. I know I talked about a lot, but obviously not all of them are making it onto my list. Like, for example, I like the Sandman Tower, but I'm not going to buy it. Speed Champions and the Dinosaur Head, I'm probably not going to buy, right? Like the Coal Mech, it's worth talking about, but I'm not going to buy it. So that smaller wave allows me to catch up on 2023 sets, get ready for the big stuff, keep saving for Lelda if it ever happens. Allows me to do retro stuff, buy stuff off Bricklink for the CSS and more figures and parts and stuff. Again, back from the olden days, or things that I'm missing from my used collection, but more specifically CSS builds, turning those into real life, so more Lelda. But in real life this time. There's other saving goals in my life, of course. I have a whole life, but also the big nerdy game items coming up soon, of course. I'm assuming within the next 24 months there'll be a Switch 2. So in the next 2 years I have to save for a Switch 2. But also, I don't remember what company it is, but someone's making a proper Master Sword prop, and I'm sick of all like the Etsy ones. They just don't look right. I want my Skyward Sword Breath of the Wild Master Sword, and that's going to be like 200, 300 in it. So I've got to start saving for that as well, because a prop Master Sword is something I've always wanted. So that's great. So in conclusion, with 2024, decent. But beyond the expected standouts like the botanicals and the museum and stuff, the only real like surprises was HP, Harry Potter coming back from the dead, because it's a breath of fresh air this time around, and Creator 3-in-1 because they're sort of hitting it out of the park every year. But even while those are amazing, it's not quite as refined, I found, as in previous years for 3-in-1. So we'll see how that goes. But at the moment, I'm impressed. But there feels like something's missing from the 2024 lineup. Maybe the superheroes, I don't know. But I'm glad it's small, I think, is the realistic. Like, while I was hoping for a more exciting reveal season, for more like, I want that day one kind of deals, I don't think there's a single day one set in there this year, which is a shame. I would have liked a day one set. But also I have plenty from last year, which we'll talk about in a second. Anyway, sets from 2023 that I wanted to talk about. Tranquil Gardens. I'm going to keep this one brief. I really like the concept here. However, I would have preferred if it was a figure scale on a base plate. So works well as a display piece, but just isn't the design for me. I love all of the building techniques, but this should have been for figures because it's just slightly off the scales. But it's really, really good. Just it makes me flinch a little. But I really, really like everything that's here. Just not at the right scale for me. Eldorado Fortress went under the radar for a reason. It is a good remake of a great set, but the great set had flaws in the name of it being fulfilled, like not underfulfilled, like empty-ish kind of, but maybe. I know a lot of fans appreciate these remake lines, and obviously I do too, especially with stuff like the Galaxy Explorer specifically. Lionheart's Castle was also great. This one, I don't know what it is. The build quality's here, the figures are here, and all of the things are recreated. But I don't know, maybe it's my dislike for LEGO Pirates, but I don't feel like it's up to the same standards. I'm really curious to see where this line is going in the future. I have my fingers crossed for an Adventurers reboot or remake or something. Anything. I'd take Orient Expedition ideally, but anything. I'm really excited to see more of these but I do have to question. I don't think they can be selling well. Like, I really don't, because it's such a niche portion of an already niche. Well, it's mainstream now, but like it's a niche portion of the Lego market. So I don't know how long this line's going to last. Unfortunately, maybe they prove me wrong, but it's a great set. But something's missing. Don't know what it is though. Something just that doesn't add up to compared to the 2 from 2022. Don't know, does it feel rushed or something? Who knows? Alpine Village Lodge just isn't worth me talking about this year. Not my favourite Winter Village, not my least favourite. It looks great for what it's trying to be, but I'm not particularly interested. Orient Express was one I was actually really excited for when the leak happened and when we knew it was coming. I'm not a train fan, so I couldn't care less about what's going on with the engine and why people don't like it. A couple of major problems though. The track being included still upsets me because it's just a waste of parts that puts the price up. The mistakes and production quality errors with this set are a little bit insulting. I do, although I know nothing about engines, I do feel the engine looks a little small. I know that most of this is actually down to the Orient Expedition company who like put certain restrictions on it without understanding the medium. I think the figures and the vibes of the carriages are the best. The carriages are beautiful, but the mistakes with the stickers being in the wrong color, the mistakes with the prints not being in the correct dialects along the top are atrocious and entirely on Lego. The figures have that great aesthetic. I wish we had a Poro, although Galestorm, this is her set. Again, the carriages are fantastic. The train, engine, a little bit weak, incredibly overpriced. I don't mind motorization not being included, but it should have been accounted for, especially given that it's very possible it just doesn't run as fast, right? So exactly why you don't include it in the box, and you don't say you can do it, but you make sure that you include the space to put a motor, right? Even if you don't put it on the box, you say it. Or you put it in a disclaimer. We cannot guarantee that this will work well, but here it is. I don't know, something... It's just disappointing the state it's released in. I feel very pleased that it exists. I'm glad to have such an iconic existent part of the 20th century here. It's a beautiful train. It looks gorgeous. The color scheme was the right choice. The changes from the original were the right choice. But some things aren't adding up, and it's largely on the latter end of production, so I'm not sure I put too much qualms on the designers for this one. There's a lot I love, but not for that price and not with those problems. Hopefully they fix it in a rerun, like in second batch of production, but it's incredibly disappointing. I feel very similar to like the good ideas that were in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, and then that game just released in an awful buggy mess. But and that does not excuse that game should never have been released, but neither should this have trained in this state either. So I don't know, it doesn't feel up to the par of the quality standards we're used to, and it's a worrying suggestion of what trends might happen in the future. A couple more worth talking about, of course. Art sets are taking a new direction. I'm so glad we're away from the basic pixels and actually into exploring what pieces can do for art. It feels like Brick Sketches and Art Had a Baby, specifically when we come to the one that's on your screen now, which is The Amazing Spider-Man. It looks great. I mean, this is beautiful. As a comic piece, I love the way the tiles have been used to represent like the Spidey sense or like the comic-y pixels from like the printing in the old days. I like that it's an iconic poster. People would definitely have this on their wall, and I love that the head can be tilted as well. It's very, very clever. Beautiful piece, really well done, and definitely shows the strength of the way the art theme is heading. I'm a big fan of this one. Won't be buying it, but a big fan of the directions chosen. Also, want to mention this GWP. I mean, it's GWP, so you can't get it, but I like it when they do fun little like play park kind of stuff. I think it's cool. I like the slide. I like the theming. More fairground sets, please. Actually, I scratched that. More fairground sets with theming like the haunted house, please. Also, where's my water ride? Next, dive into the city stuff from this year. We have this stunts one. No one's talking about them, so I'm here to give them a little bit of credit. This is just the most insane stunt, I think. Let me phrase this through, right? So, like, if you had to tell me that, like, 10 years ago, there would be a way for Lego to do a pullback motorcycle, for one, a pullback motorcycle that can do a loop-de-loop and then go directly vertically up a tower to knock an alien out of a UFO. The vibes here, again, like the aesthetic choices, great. The function, it doesn't work fully all the time. It's a very hard skill level, but stunts will be missed because I don't think it's coming back. And the loop-de-loop and the alien stuff is cool. The bikes and the references were cool. They were incredibly overpriced, and there were some problems, of course, with the pullbacks, but I wanted to give the designers credit for the effort they put into the concept. Similarly, this one, again, overpriced, largely because of the large pieces and amount of animals. This is one that I will get when it goes on sale, heavily sale. I mean, like, we're talking down from like 30 to like 22-18 kind of territory, like nearly 50%. This is the sea foresting boat. I like that we had a diving one that was talking more about a science problem, because if Lego City's not going to do anything interesting, then they should at least be pushing a pro-environment agenda, which they are just very strangely with Octane E and the solar panels, but more so here. Also the veg store. Why was the veg? No, the veg store needed to be something else. But or as a child might tell me in the comments again, real Americans don't like electric cars. Yeah, they should. Get over it. Calm down. Anyway, sea foresting is a really important issue, obviously, that's facing our marine communities. Seagrass provides a habitat and food source for many different species, so it's great to see a boat here that was literally labelled in some countries as a sea foresting expedition. Really cool. Not to mention you get a nice set of figures that have an attachment to meh boat, and then plenty of animals and coral and stuff. So the turtles here being a standout, being proper marine turtles this time with the green colour, as well as a stingray and a hammerhead shark. So this is one I definitely want, just not yet. Into Star Wars, we don't usually talk about much. The standouts are still the TIE Bomber and the Death Star diorama. The TIE Bomber, again, just looks really, really clean. All the modern TIE fighters have, specifically since we shrunk the scale back down to 40 a couple of years back now. I still really, 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 really like the 40-pound TIE fighter that came out. Really great set. I'd still like to own one day. But this bomber's also great with the bomb features, great figures, and Vader as well. Pretty cool. The throne room, again, also Vader. But I really love the building techniques here. Now, it's overpriced, so if it ever came down cheap enough, but having the new Luke here, the Emperor, this is my... See, it's difficult. I love playsets. Playsets are my bread and butter, and I prefer them. I don't love all the 18 plus stuff, specifically the 18 plus stuff that I think could have been more fun and Lego-y as a playset. So like, part of me doesn't want to give it this accolade, but this might be the one diorama that I like more than the playsets, because while the Death Star throne room playsets are cool, I never like them as much as the Death Star playsets, or just like other playsets in general. So like, this is just an incredibly cool display set that's just so striking. It's really, really beautiful, especially with all the angles in the window. Again, I have a problem with the price, but what's new there? Actually, a couple more though to mention. We've got Yavin 4 here. So it's saying about playsets, right? Doesn't matter. I will always give them credit. And this one's fantastic. This is exactly what I want. Again, it gives very modern playsets, and if they're not going to give us Master Builder sets, they better give us more stuff like this. This is great. It's like what I talked about with the Hagrid's Hub. It was very upgraded 2010s, which is great. I love to see it. It's a location that doesn't get made very often, with a lot of figures, and looks great with a MIDI scale or almost microvisor wiring, which is great. And the Stormtrooper mech. I'm giving this guy credit. Yes, it's not canon. Yeah, whatever. We don't like mechs. Yeah, I'll take it up with the crowd. We don't need the other mechs. Yes, but this is cool. This is like its own heavy unit. This is the one non-canon mech that I will accept, because you could build an army of these and it would look very, very cool. Of just like this kind of like fanficky, kind of like sci-fi-esque, like mecha trooper. This is incredibly cool. I'm a big fan of this one. So I'll let this one play. In fact, when he goes on sale, I'll probably buy one, but like sale again. So much sale this time, but maybe that just speaks to the genuine quality. I still feel that 2020 was the best year that we've ever had. I don't know, argue that one out in the comments, but 2020, like late 2019 to 2020, those were my favourite 2 years combined. I've loved everything since, but I haven't come off that high from like the 2020 year. So much stuff that year. That was such a good year. Monkey Kid, don't know if I talked about any of these. The Azure Lion, I don't actually like particularly much, but it's here because I keep coming back to it throughout the year. Something about its design or the way this mecha has been put together, I don't know, it keeps calling to me, as if like something about the building techniques. I don't know. Just maybe it's the color scheme. Anyway, I keep coming back to him, and I have no interest in buying the set. I have no interest in the set at all, but something about its design is speaking to me on another level, and usually that means that it's good inspiration. So, I don't know, watch out for Mecha Azure Lion turned into something at some point. But I wanted to point it out. It's standing out to me and my brain for some reason. Dragon Palace underwater set, again, great play set, really expansive. Completely different vibes. It doesn't feel like a 2010s remastered playset. It feels like a very modern kind of deal. I know it doesn't have the nostalgia of me, but it's beautiful. I give it that. Like, I can't really take anything away from it, but I also am struggling to give it any unique pointers. I just think it was worth talking about because it's very impressive. But do we need stuff like this every year? I don't know. Who knows? I'm not so sure. Anyway, The Distracted. The set I did like most was probably just because it looks like a Lord of the Rings Mumakil. Not Mumakil, Elephant. No, Mumakil, right? Yeah. Anyway. looks like a Lord of the Rings war beast from Minas Tirith, but in white. It's the white tusk elephant. Looks very, very cool. It's just unique, you know. I like stuff like this. This is cool. Great set. Dreams brings a credit from this year. The shark ship's really the only one I want to talk about. What great creative design this is. I love it. I don't have any words. It's just such a great idea. It's fun. It's creative. It's imposing. It has such good visual identity. Such a good color scheme. Such good figures as well. Fantastic. Just fantastic. Nothing needs to be said. One of the big boys for the year, and the Justin Ramsden duo. We've got Gringotts and Avengers Tower. Gringotts falls into an unfortunate place. For me, at least, I think that it looks great. I'm really, really impressed with what they've been able to achieve, but it almost feels like too much. I don't know. I didn't need it. And that's weird because this is better. This does feel like a theme park set, and I really love the roller coaster integration, and the way it's all done is beautiful, and still having the base plate to connect diagonally. And I've always wanted an Iron Belly. I wish the Iron Belly was sold separately and was better looking, but I wish that was the case. Maybe they will one day, but I wish he wasn't here, just so I could own him. But I don't know, maybe it was like the time this came out, but it just very much sunk under the radar for me, and I haven't heard much chatter about it apart like since either. Like, I don't know, maybe I'm over exaggerating it, but like, did something miss with this one? Because this felt like a slam dunk, but like, I don't know. It's very cool. I won't deny it's on my list, but like, it didn't get the attention I thought it would, and I don't feel as strongly about it as I thought I would. Like, I felt strong about Diagon Alley at the time, but maybe that's just my changing views and a greater appreciation for only choosing the best of these expensive sets in a year where Rivendell already existed. Now, the Avengers Tower get me more excited, more from the perspective of I don't really have any Marvel sets, so the idea of owning the Marvel set with all the figures with a really cool building is quite interesting to me. Also, I like the way this has been done. I really like the way this has been done. I'm not a huge... I feel like they could have done more with the interior, but that's so-so. This is truly about the figures and the build. I think it's incredible. Really, really well built with lots of detail and attention to figures and so on. The Leviathan looks great. I mean, what can I say that hasn't already been said? It's a standout for the year. Very expensive, again. But it's very cool, too. So... who knows? I have mixed feelings. Again, slightly stronger reception than to Gringotts, but I feel like Avengers Tower almost overshadowed Gringotts. I feel like a lot overshadowed Gringotts. I don't know. Maybe it's me. Maybe it was where I was at the time. When Gringotts was announced, I was away, so maybe it's just because I missed the initial like reveal hype train for it, but like, I don't know. Anyway, specifically loving the figures for Avengers Tower. I mean, I don't even have like Captain America or like I really want a Vision. That Vision is incredible. Or like any of these basic characters like Loki and Thor. And considering this is based off the first 10 years, and I love the first 10 years and like the Infinity Saga, this is a beautiful set. I really, really like it. I like it more than the Bugle. Don't know how it compares to the Sanctum. Then again, actually, bringing up the Sanctum, I felt the same way about the Sanctum and Gringotts when they were revealed. Like, they wowed me, but they didn't like pull me. But yet now, a year later, the Sanctum has like clawed its way to like very high up my list. So maybe the same will happen for Gringotts. Who knows? Smaller sets were specifically with ideas. Let's go for Tales of the Space Age. Beautiful. No intention of buying, but beautiful. I really love the style. I think this kind of artsy kind of deal we could do more of. I would like to see more stuff like this. Not based off official artwork, just custom creative stuff like this. Very cool. Great gift for a casual. And then the insects. I like biology, so these are very cool. I don't really have much to say about them, but I really like the way they were done. And I think they look neato, so I'll probably be buying these before they retire at some point. With Disney, came down to the camera and the villain's icon. The villain's icon confuses me because I like the figures and I like a lot of the smaller accessories, but why is it 2 VHS cases in a book? Like, 1 VHS maybe, but it doesn't feel like they're the villain icons. It feels like this was designed for a bookshelf, but like, to me, the Harry Potter icons did books better because that's a school thing. This just feels like, oh no... I like the idea of having What the Beauty and the Beast book and like the Little Mermaid VHS, but like, could we have changed the VHS cases? It's cool they've got places to put them, and like the apple's cool, but like Hook should have been here, and maybe the Queen of Hearts as well. I don't know. It's great. I do like it, but something feels off. I don't know. Maybe I'm expecting too much from a set like this, but it's very cool. Made the list. And then the tribute camera has been incredibly popular, as we all know. The film strip looks great, all the figures. I am a big fan of the functions in this one, though, more so than anything. The aesthetics is good. It's so-so, but it's good. As in, like, it's good. It just doesn't stand out particularly. Is what I'm trying to say. Like, I'd rather own the Mickey and Minnie statues, which I do. But the triplane camera is pretty cool. You know, like the recreation there, the clickety clackety. The Walt figure is of course really special as well. Like, it doesn't matter what you think about modern Disney. It's very, very special. The classics are all close to pretty much everyone. And then if Rivendell didn't release probably the most important set, or not the most important, but just the most stunning test set to release this year, the Concord, right? And we say this every year, but the best set of the year doesn't have to be your favorite set, and that is the case, right? I have no attachment to Concord beside thinking that it's neat and wondering why we stopped it. I know obviously the reasons why we stopped the Concord, but like, why don't we try again? You know, the building techniques off the wall, display ability, absolutely insane. Functions too, and then just beauty on display for an icon. It does fit that bracket of Titanic for me. Obviously Titanic is better and I have an attachment, and I'll never be Titanic, but something about this is really special. So if Rivendell didn't exist, this would win Best Set of the Year. Jurassic Park gave us the 25th anniversary set, something I've been waiting for a long time. Accurately coloured Dilophosaurus, I'm very excited to get, along with a new Nedry. I'm not so fussed on Nedry because I already have one from the Gate set, but I'll happily take another. Bulbasaur Can is great, but more specifically the Jeep. We got the actual track cars in the Triceratops set, but also in the T-Rex breakout last year, but I'm perfectly happy. I need the other one. I'm not so pleased that this is the mud version because it doesn't look great. Like those, specifically the cheese slopes on the front, look really ugly. But hey, you know what, it is what it is, and it's a great set, so I'll be happy to pick that up. Moving to Mario from this year again, Dry Bowser's Castle came out this year, and I want Dry Bowser, I want the Bone Piranha Plant, I want the whole set. Realistically, I'm going to buy the set. I prefer the 2020 Bowser's Castle, but I don't know if that's nostalgia talking. Ideally, I think what I like what they've done is I feel like you can capture two parts, or like a bigger Bowser's Castle by combining both sets together. And we're going to do this in a video when I get the set, but to me this feels more like an outskirts, right? Like this feels like the entrance gate with the big chains and the drawbridge coming down, and like the more rock work, like, and then the inside is built onto like those NES walls and stuff. So I want to try and combine both together, although maybe this is an inner sanctum because you've got like the no, this is the outside gates. Like, I know they've put his secret room in there, which obviously would be in like the back of the back, but like everything else just screams exterior to me, and like big lava lakes. So, and the gym, I guess, whatever. We're gonna combine the two when we get them, because I think personally both could work really, really well together. But of course, the standout from this year was the Piranha Plant. It looks perfect. It's a great addition to have next to Bowser, and I've been saying it for ages, but licensed botanical sets, yes. All the famous plants that we have in our movies, I mean, Decatree maybe, movies and TV, need to be made. Any plant that has been a plot MacGuffin, like I hear a Mandrake might be coming next year, that's great. More like this, please. Special plants, special animals, stuff like that. So I'm really pleased to see the Piranha Plant, and the functionality here is great as well. A couple more big ones though. Pac-Man Arcade. I must have talked about this at some point because I love this. I don't have the hugest history with Pac-Man, but I love the game, of course. Who doesn't? But also the original game. I've never played any others. The movement here is fantastic. I'm so glad we have a tread with a stud attachment on it now. That's great. This just falls closer to the NES than the Atari did, and in just so much of a better way. Also, the display on the top with Clyde. The orange one, of course. Who doesn't know Clyde? I have a plush of Clyde. He's very cool, but I won from a claw machine like 2 years ago. That was fun. And Blinky, yeah, Blinky. I knew that because Pinky and Inky are obviously blue and pink. To have the big versions is so cool. Now, specifically, I love the Ghost. My memory sticks, my USBs. When I was a wee child, I had 4. That I collected over the years, and once I had 4, I was like, I'm going to name them Inky, Blinky, Pinky, and Clyde. So I'm very excited to have this and that Pac-Man figure as well. But also, I mentioned a little bit earlier the Sanctum Sanctorum. This one's really grown on me. Modular, blends in nicely with the street. I'm looking forward to this being sort of my only Marvel modular in my modular like display. I like the figures. I wish Ebony Moore had an aqua head, but the interior is great. And a great build, of course, with that beautiful window print too. A little cramped. It's not perfect, but it's far better than the 2018 one, and I'm very excited to own it one day. Now, let's move on to some of these I will have talked about, some of these I won't. So we're going to quick fire through this fairly quickly. But now I want to talk about the sets from this year that are sort of still on like the wanted list, I guess, in that case, or sets that I haven't purchased that came out in 2023, so sets that I want. And obviously, again, some of these I've mentioned, like the Sanctum Sanctorum and the Pac-Man Arcade, all sets I wanted. But let's just wrap these up here. So Indiana Jones, Boulder Escape, great set. Probably not going to get it, but would like to. It's on the wanted list. Obviously, other stuff I mentioned, like the Sea Explorers one as well. The Skinwing Adventure, I'd like to get before it retires, but again, I'm probably too late on that one. It's probably already gone. But I did get RDA Mountains, so I'm happy. I've been quelled, although the Skinwing was still my favourite creature from the Avatar universe. Triwizard Tournament, Lake Challenge. Again, I want it, but I can't justify it because it's too expensive. I need it to be 50% off, and even then, I might flinch. The Motorized Lighthouse, still holding strong on the list. One day I will grab it before it retires, hopefully. The old Hulkbuster from Wakanda is still the best Hulkbuster. I had stopped myself from buying it because of the weird Bruce Banner head issue where it was like it was seen through the Hulkbuster, but I'm still going to get it because it's an iconic thing and it's very, very cool. And neither of those figures appear in the Avengers Tower, so I'm not duplicating anyway. Hogwarts Castle Chamber of Secrets from 2021. Again, fantastic minifigures, great builds. I was put off just because I felt it looked simple and empty, but it's something I want. It's something I have a couple of the Hogwarts sets now, and I think this is the last one I kind of really want. Also, Voldemort would be really cool. The City recycling truck, yeah, I still want it. I need a sale. It's just it's a small set for 30. I don't know. Another one that I just need a big discount, Loop Coaster. I still think it's really cool. I love the Fairground sets. I love them so much, but it's just so expensive. I can't justify it at that price, right? It's weird. Stuff like Titanic costs more, but it's so much easily justifiable. Like, I'm not afraid of spending the money on it. It doesn't feel worth it for what they're charging. And then the set that I don't know why I haven't bought yet, Boutique Hotel. This is a very soon purchase, like first half of next year, because it's going to retire. At the end of 2024, and I really want the hotel. I've expressed my love for it before, so we'll leave it brief. Now, as for the sets I did actually pick up in 2024, we're going very quick. We're getting near the end now. Just wanted to give you my thoughts on the stuff I actually did purchase. Batman 1992, the little polybag. I wanted the figure. It was cheap. 2 Marvel Studio minifigures. I did potluck on the boxes for my first round. I got She-Hulk the first time. Not a bad figure. I just didn't want her. I would have there's like half the series is like air to me, but half the series was interesting. Like going in, I was like, again, I haven't watched any of the shows, so it's not about that for me. But like, I don't know, Moon Knight, Agatha, or just like any, I don't know. The one I wasn't too fussed, I really wasn't interested in like Echo or like the X-Men particularly, but like I would have taken pretty much anyone. But She-Hulk was like, okay. And then I did like a second one like 2 months later, and I got Werewolf by Night, which is at least cool because he has useful parts and he's a werewolf. So Halloween monster display gets a little bit bigger despite him being licensed because, yeah, you know, I can do what I like. Also, of course, through purchases this year, I ended up with 1 copy of the Summertime Fun VIP accessory pack and 2 copies of the Halloween accessory pack. I knew I wanted a Halloween one because cool Halloween parts, yes, but also purple Spaceman helmet, so we have that now. I also ended up with 2 Duplo sets this year, being the Whale and the Growing Carrot, both because they're cute. Don't at me. Couple of figures as well. Picked up all of Mario Series 5, the character packs. Still very sad that the character packs have ended. 3 from Series 24 at the beginning of the year, which was the Orc Warrior, the Brown Spaceman and Space Baby, of course, and the Dinosaur Suit Guy. And then from Disney 100, I picked up a load, specifically the big 2 that stand out, Sorcerer Mickey and Oswald, the 2 that have been on my figure wanted list for nigh on a decade. So that was very, very cool to finally get those. Swamp Adventure from Minecraft, mainly for the frog, pretty much only for the frog, my favourite mob edition and favourite biome edition to the game in years. As I said of the Frog House earlier, this is the only good frog set apart from the Frog House technically, but it's iffy. And again, across promos, I also got the Magic Maze, which I haven't built yet because I had it delivered somewhere else, so I built that over Christmas. So it's a cool set. I like how quirky it is, and I like mazes like that in real life, so I'm looking forward to that one as well. Exotic Para was also pretty cool. I mentioned it earlier. Really, really nice build, really cheap. I love blue and yellow macaws. I actually got the pleasure of seeing them in Peru, and I love them. One of my favorite animals, so very cool to have those. Lotuses, also great flower. I was hoping to have these to put in the Pikmin vases that Nintendo released around Pikmin 4, but they were out of stock, and now they're incredibly expensive because I brought these specifically so that I could put them in the Pikmin vases because I thought they would look like Pikmin blooms. So now I just have lotuses. They're still really, really cool. It's just not my favourite of botanicals, but it is one that I liked and put on my list anyway. Okay, got the gingerbread ornaments here. Great Christmas decoration. We love our gingerbreads. Very cute. Love the customizable aspect. Not the best, but again, another nice purchase that I've enjoyed my time with. Scaled up minifigure was an absolute must. This was very near to day one purchase for me. I love just love the upscaled figure size, and it was much my first one picking them up because I skipped on the Harry and Hermione despite really liking it, and I obviously couldn't get Redbeard. The like pull open hat is really cool as well, just like the mech feature, and it feels nice that it's like the classic figure. It's also the same one that appears on that Thief poster as well. And then the Blacktron Cruiser was another GWP that I picked up at the beginning of the year. This was specifically because I knew I was going to get the Galaxy Explorer, but also because I love Blacktron 1, and that's not because the logo is an upside down Triforce, but I love Blacktron 1. It's my favourite space scene besides Classic Space, and it makes a great antagonist to the Galaxy Explorer. So, and the Bounty Hunter from Series 19 is also a great figure. I ended up finding Battle of Hogwarts on sale. Battle of Hogwarts on the Aqueduct Bridge specifically is a set I've wanted them to make for years. Again, it was on my most wanted sets list, which we're going to update at the end of this year because obviously it's all changed now. Like half the sets I wanted have actually come to fruition. I love the figures, I love the new wand pieces, and I love the destructible aspect and also the recombinable aspect into that bridge that I've ever so wanted. But it's weird. I love the set. I don't think it does a good job of representing the bridge, but also it's enough and it feels cheapified that I enjoy. My point is I was conflicted and I didn't buy it at full price, so I got a decent discount and then I was very happy. I'm still very happy. I still think the interior is utterly trash, but it does its job. It like just about scratches that itch for the set I was dreaming of. I don't think we'll ever get the set that I like hoped it could be, but this is very much close enough, and I'm just glad we got it. Specifically, again, those figures great. Getting Scabious and then green, like Dirty Voldemort was also fantastic. Dried Flower Bouquet was my second favourite of the botanicals. I really love it for autumn. I'll be building it for autumn every year, and it looks great on a table, and one day it will look great on my wall. Ideally, one day I'd like to have 3 of them, but that doesn't feel very feasible, so maybe that will be an eBay thing down the line. Lloyd's Spinjitzu guy, I don't know how I ended up with this. This was purely because I wanted the green arms to test on a Purist Tokka Link. Now I didn't use them, so now I'm just stuck with the actual set. Yay. It's not a bad set. It's a gimmick set, whatever, but there's some cool parts. Conqueror Noggin Bopper, great name. Simple function, but great addition to the Mario lineup. Really, really, really pleased they actually made this thing. Similarly, the Joker from Hansel's Yellow First. Again, I have no attachment to the show, but getting this guy in a magazine was awesome because this was the logo of the Breath of the Wild Stables Ideas Project Hansel's Yellow First. So it just feels kind of like a full circle tribute. So I'm glad to have it. I don't know, it feels weird, but I've always wanted the figure since that. So I'm glad I finally have it. Here, Botanical Gardens, £75. This was one of the best deals of the year. Again, this is up there for best of the year. Like, potentially the best set of the year. Like, again, Rivendell, so like, but Rivendell's biased the entire like thing. Like, beyond Rivendell and the Concord, this is the best set of the year. This is the best play set of the year, full stop. It's gorgeous. I love Botanical Gardens, full stop. I've spent a lot of time in them as a child and as an adult as well. So many different plants are represented here. The brown ducks, the waterfall. It's so creative yet so realistic to a garden. The butterflies and the carnivorous plants on the inside and the parts usage, and just like the date vibes that I'm getting from like the figure selection here. It's just so wholesome. I love it. I like wholesome things. And then Alia's room as well. It's a good build. It stands out to me most visually of the rooms. This was more so me showing my sport, but also testing the new Friends line. But also, there's the Zelda reference on the book, so you know I had to, and I wasn't going to wait for it to show up as a sticker on Bricklink, so I brought that set day one too. And then almost at the end now, RDA Floating Mountains 26 was another set I acquired this year. This was my favourite from the Avatar Wave 1 and my favourite aspect from the Avatar movie, and also has my favourite figures, specifically Grace was the only one I actually really wanted. It also gave me a chance to experience the horse and the 3-legged and give me Trudy as well. So like all the main characters are here, right? Like from the first movie, I've got them all. So like apart from Quaritch, I guess, and Neytiri, but is she really even a character in that first movie? I don't know. Anyway, you get a little bit of Floating Mountains. It's a little bit disappointing compared to other segments, but it still looks great. The build there was actually really, really fun. And also, of course, Site 26, which is another iconic part, and the helicopter as well. I feel like this is the most well-rounded set. It couldn't justify it because it wasn't like one of my main themes of interest. I wouldn't buy it full price. That's not to say I think it's overpriced, just that I couldn't justify it full price, but I was able to get a decent discount, and I've been very happy with it. I think it looks great on display. Really displayable set. Obi-Wan Starfighter, I wanted this for the Kaminoan, but also it is the best of the Starfighters for the prequels we've gotten. I really like it. I also like the Obi-Wan and the hood change out, and also the droid. So lots to love here, just the optimized perfect version of the set. Wiggler's Poison Swamp, he is cool. Again, it was a one that I've put off for a long time, but I like the Wiggler character and I think the function is cool, so I got it on sale. And Desert Pokey was, to my surprise, still in stock on Nintendo.com. This was one I always wanted. I really love the feature and the character builds here from Wave 1. One of the ones I have the most nostalgia for, which is weird for something that like happened like nearly 5 years ago, I guess. But so again, just going back and completing some of the sets I missed out on. Along with these two, this was Eep Cheap and Paragumba, two figures I missed out from the Wave 1 set. From the Wave 1 sets, was really pleased to go finally and pick those up. Similarly, set from last year, the Jurassic Park T-Rage Rampage Breakout set with the Jeep vans. Wasn't too fussed on the dinosaur, but the diorama style, the figures of the kids, which I didn't have, and then most specifically to me, the Ford Explorers was something I needed in my life. Those Ford Explorers should have, at least if they weren't, they should have been on the most wanted list of things I wanted LEGO to make. So I'm so glad we finally have them after playing the video game and waiting for so long. I'm so glad we have one, and one that isn't crushed as well. I know one came in the Triceratops set, but when you think about it, that Triceratops set is nearly half the price of this one, and in this one you get so much else. So I just upgraded and used VIP points to take the price down. Also, Monty Mole, this was the promo from the 2020 wave, and this has one of the better play features from the mirror with like the 3-hit succession thing. Really love it. Was glad to just pick it up on eBay for a cheap price now that things have calmed down with the Mario line. Again, just filling in the gaps of stuff I want. I'm not going to buy them all, but I'm going to buy a few of them. And then the Galaxy Explorer was another highlight for the year. Again, I have the original, so the upscaled version is very cool. Super fun build, super great features like the landing gear and the airlock and things. Great figures, although they're very simple. I had red and white, the originals anyway, so it's not a big deal. And then the building techniques are of course through the roof, but just so great, and such a great pair with the Blacktron Cruiser as well. We also had the Lord of the Rings brickheads this year. I wasn't going to do it, but then I did. I don't regret it, but I don't know how often I'll have them built. But really, the set, and I haven't built this yet, this is going to be my way I spend my Christmas week when I'm off work and all cozied up, is I'm going to be building Rivendell. And it'll probably only take me 2 days, but I'm going to build Rivendell. And I cannot wait. It's the best set of the year. It's gorgeous. Favourite movie IP turned back into LEGO after a 10-year wait. And a new location with great figures, great details, great iconic moments, and stuff we never got to like see before, like Broken Swords. And I'm very excited to get its antithesis in Barad-dûr, hopefully in 2024. I'm very excited because that could be a Sauron and a Witch King, and those are some of my other figures on my list. It could even be an Nazgul, even if it's microscale. It could even, sorry, not an Nazgul, sorry, Fell Beast. I'm sorry, I was conditioned. I was very young. I didn't understand all the terminology. Forgive me, please. No, I'm very excited to build this. Yes, I'm incredibly excited to build this, actually. This could be one of my favourites of all time, potentially. It's got to easily be in the top 10, surely. But we'll see as I build it. Maybe there'll be something I don't like, but it seems very unlikely. When Lord of the Rings was coming back, I already knew it was going to be the best. So that's actually going to do it. We're going to leave it there. Let me know your thoughts. This is long. No one's watching still, I'm sure. But there's 2024. It's exciting. Let me know. I'm specifically interested. One, of course, if there are any sets you're specifically interested in or loved from this year, or what your pickups were. But I also want to know what your thoughts are about how 2024 is kind of stacking up compared to like the 2020 like 3. Obviously, we haven't got most of the sets yet, but like, I don't know. Even from the rumour pipeline, there hasn't been as much, but maybe that's just me. Let me know down below, as well as, of course, your hauls, your Christmas plans, anything you want down below. And I will see you again next week for a custom set. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye-bye.